I guess like why would people even think that? Why does every entrepreneur need a business advisor or a mentor? Like, that's a very important question. And experience is one of the most valuable assets of everyone's career, and mentors and advisors can act as a map and a compass.
Yes, for sure.
So this is where we come in, and we can kind of like hopefully help navigate that aspect. If anybody hasn't, if you're listening and you haven't really explored that opportunity, if you've had one, and why that might matter.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand is whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit. You just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles. Time to take it to the next level. Let's go.
Welcome to Venture Hustles. This is Saj. I'm one of your co-hosts, and I've got.
And my name is Jack, your other co-host. Welcome to yet again another episode of Venture Hustles.
Oh yeah,
where we focus on business, startups, entrepreneurship, and that's what we like to talk about here.
Oh yeah. Every day, every week. Well, you listen to us every week, and we've been doing this for a while now. So we've been going strong. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We love having you.
Oh yeah,
we'd love to hear your feedback, and we're definitely we super enjoy doing this.
Super enjoy doing this.
That's
great grammar. So today's episode.
Now here we are. Yeah. Why don't you kick us off here? Why don't you kick us off? Talk about what today's episode.
So today's episode, Saj and I were going through, some of the topics we want to talk about, and we really like this one, and so today we wanted to talk about business mentors, the importance of a business mentor. What is a business mentor, and
why everybody needs one? Yeah, 100%. I think this is really important, and I don't think people understand the level of wealth and knowledge and experience that mentors or advisors bring to the table, can offer from an outside perspective.
For sure.
And experience is one of the most valuable assets of everyone's career, and mentors and advisors can act as a map and a compass.
Yes, for sure.
So this is where we come in, and we can kind of like hopefully help navigate that aspect. If anybody hasn't, if you're listening and you haven't really explored that opportunity, if you've had one, and why that might matter, why that might be important. So yeah, I guess we can kick off by first of all, how's your week, man?
My week?
Yeah,
it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Going pretty well thus far. I mean, as we start to kind of wrap up the craziness of 2022,
you're going to a Giants game tomorrow.
Yeah. I am going to a Giants game. Giants are doing real good this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big Giants fan. So
I can tell you that I have not felt this good in probably 4, 5, 6 years, and
since 2011.
Well, I would say 16. That's what I was gonna say. But 2011. God damn, you are morbid. I've been feeling good. It's just been.
Yeah.
2011.
Why
though?
2016 should be the question we should be asking.
2016, it wasn't as bad, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's just a matter of standards, and my standard is 2011.
How many teams in the NFL?
32.
You think all 32 teams are going to win every year?
No, some teams have never won. That's the standard at the Giants organization.
Giants have won
Super Bowls. 2011, last time they won.
Okay, well that's the thing. We've tasted it
many times.
Yeah,
it's a great taste. It's addicting.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We'll
see. This is a great year.
So addicting that we can't get back.
We got our producer James. He's actually in a Giants jacket
he
right
is,
now.
It's I wish we could
fresh.
get a shot of him.
He's a big Giants fan as well, probably bigger than me. So. Yeah.
Love that. Is he really, James? You're a bigger Giants fan than he is?
He's a
Love
big
that.
Giants fan.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
Back to the topic of today's discussion, business mentors. So, Saj, I mean, what would you say from a definition standpoint, what is a business mentor to you?
A business mentor is somebody that can provide value an outside perspective, someone that is not involved in your day-to-day operations, doesn't see the nitty-gritty, the details, all of the hustle and grind, but can look at it from an outside perspective and tell you what they see is wrong, what they see that you're doing right, or just steer you or guide you in the right direction. Mostly this is important because they are a non-biased third party.
Yeah, I agree.
It's basically like getting somebody to audit your company and your operations and your strategies and from time to time. And the reason why this is important to me personally, so there's two things about me from this perspective, right? I am a business mentor to a lot of different startups, and I advise I'm an advisor for startups and entrepreneurs. I also have advisors and business mentors that advise me. So I see both sides personally. And I've had that before, and very recently, obviously, because of a lot of the things that have been happening, I've been working with more selective group of advisors and mentors for the last, I'd say, 2 months, really. But I've had advisors that I've kind of tapped into even prior to that for years. But to be honest, the last 2 years, most of it has been me just advising, you know. But I think it's very, very, very crucial. Would you add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree. I think that I like the word you mentioned before, compass. I think that, for me, if we were to sum it up into one word, that's what it could be summed up as, is a kind of a true north compass.
Yeah.
Someone that you can call and speak with for perspective, advice, even thinking through some problems. Typically this is someone that might be, a little bit older than you, has some experience, more experience than you, and, as you're kind of going through problems, they might have a couple of things to say that's like, wow, okay, now you're that much closer to, the solution. And, I've worked with, quite a few. I've had quite a few that I'm super grateful for. And
do you have mentors actively?
Yeah, I have a few for sure. And I think that, one of the sayings would be, that kind of always stuck with me is, to kind of picture it visually. Say you had a roadmap, right? And when you work with whether it's one person, two people, however many people that are kind of mentoring you, let's say, or advising you, you're almost kind of like folding time. You take that roadmap, go like that, and they're able to kind of provide you with insight, experiences, and so that you don't run into the same obstacles that maybe they did, so. 100%.
I think, I guess why would people even think that? Why does every entrepreneur need a business advisor or a mentor? That's a very important question. And the reason being, for me personally, is typically if you're dealing with an advisor or a mentor, they're not like this young 20-year-old, 19, 20, early 20-year-old person that is just starting out. This is somebody that has at least 5 to 10 years plus of experience in the industry or the space that you are dealing with.
Yes.
And most likely, this is someone who's in their 40s, 50s, maybe 60s, someone that's been around the block, that has gone through the ups and downs, that has lived through all of the pain that maybe you've lived, or even more. Maybe in some cases, maybe not fully. But the whole point is they can relate. And they're coming in with a heavy hand of experience, and they're like I said, they're guiding you as a compass, to getting you to navigate through your journey to get you from point A to point B. That's the whole purpose behind it. I've had mentors in the past that have played a very pivotal role to the directions of and the decisions that the company was making in my past startups. And then let's say it didn't do well, or this didn't happen. And my relationship with those mentors wasn't the same anymore, So it's also important, right? Because if you have advisors, like let's say board advisors, they also play as mentors in a way. Maybe they have something to take from, let's say, an equity perspective or something in return. Maybe they're just advising for free. Maybe they're just like, it doesn't matter, right? But the whole point is, it's important to establish that relationship from an expectation perspective early on.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've I've also had quite a few where I was, at some points in my life, although, again, I'm super young, when I was in my early 20s,
Yeah.
that I was very close with, helped me out with just kind of like overall life stuff.
Yeah.
And then also on the business side as well with some of the things I was trying to do. And,
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just kind of outgrow each other almost. And, obviously you both kind of move on and the relationship wasn't as close as it once was, like you'd mentioned, but it's not like anything is sour, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that kind of that happens as you grow in life. You need different perspectives, different advice. You might be even in a totally different industry at some point.
Yep.
So, things change and evolve always.
I can tell you that for a very specific time frame, I was very, I would say mostly in 2019 and 2020. I was very strategic with the startups and entrepreneurs that I would advise, simply because there was a big trend around how, like, let's say there's a hot startup idea, and they got funded, and they needed advisors and mentors on their team to help navigate. If I noticed that these guys weren't really hustling, these guys weren't really doing all the due diligence, let's say I gave them some points, actual structural shit, basic things, right? Let's say incorporated in Delaware and this and that. And if I saw that they weren't acting on these things that I know is going to affect whether they get funded or not, I personally would choose to be like, okay, guys, this isn't
working. Yeah.
Because in a lot of those cases, I had no take.
Yeah.
I had no take. Like, I wouldn't get equity. I wouldn't get anything. I was purely doing out of the community's help, growth.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing this. Personally, I enjoy it because it helps me grow. And also from their perspective, like, I like having these achievements of, all right, I helped this startup get to this point and this and that, even though I had no take in it.
Yep.
A lot of people take percentages for things like that, right?
Yes.
Now, there's some that I did, but some that I didn't. And a lot of them I didn't. So it's purely advisory. So I chose to walk away from this. So from a mentor's perspective, if you're not doing your part and you're not doing the due diligence, not doing the work needed as a mentee, then don't be surprised if that relationship is going to sour out.
Yeah.
So I guess key points, right? Which is, I guess, what are the benefits of having a business mentor, right? And then we can kind of like talk about the fundamentals.
Yeah. I think it all kind of comes back to number one, perspective.
Yep.
But then also a lot of times that mentor, or let's say advisor, has also a network too. That if as a mentee you are grinding it out, taking their advice and things that they say into perspective, and starting to execute on some of these things, that person will open up their network to you. Which is also a good something to touch on as well.
Yeah, you're talking about one of the biggest pluses of a mentor-mentee relationship, or advisor-advisee relationship, is that, right?
Yeah.
Because this individual that is in your network now, who's your mentor, your advisor, has spent maybe the last 10, 15 years networking with individuals, growing their business. This is probably most likely a high net worth individual.
Yes.
Like, if you're a mentor or an advisor, like, if you're trying to get somebody like that on your team, don't get somebody that's also hardcore in their startup grind. Get somebody that has proven, at least built a track record, that knows how to build a successful, profitable business, and then bring them on, right? And then ask them, hey, can I pick your brain from time to time? And I'll talk to you guys about the approach on how that works, right?
Yeah.
And how to set up the expectations. But you don't really just want somebody that's in your same vertical. That's like, let's say you have a real estate business and you're like, oh, this guy does it too, but he makes a little bit more money than me. He could be my mentor. That's not the point. You want somebody that maybe is in the same vertical, sometimes not, but understands the world of business, finance, and just how to be successful as a whole to be able to help you navigate. You know? And
without a doubt.
And like exactly what you said, this person's probably put in 10, 15 years of networking, building their Rolodex. Now, obviously, if they don't think you're worth it, because that's exactly what happened to me. I spent about 10 plus years, 12 years, 13 years in the startup world, in the technology world, building my network, building my Rolodex. So when a startup comes in, and we deal with startups so much every single day at FFP, and they're like, hey, if there's an investor opportunity, we've heard it so many times, right?
Every day.
Every day. why would I risk my relationship? The minute I make a warm introduction to an investor with a startup, I am putting my neck on the line saying that I think these guys are worth it. Now, if they drop the ball or their idea is shit or something goes wrong during the presentation, I have sacrificed or hurt my name. I understand that when I'm dealing with advisors that I talk to that advise to me, because I'm on the other side as well. So I understand the value of that. You know, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, why will this hurt you? Just make an email introduction. Just say, hey, you know these guys. I would love it. We're going to change the game. You don't understand. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt. And I guess in regards to maybe selecting one, excuse me, a phrase I always like to kind of keep in mind is, you want them to be where you want to go.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So, I mean, yeah, exactly. And I think also if you're dealing and you're working with a mentor or an advisor, they're most likely not going to open up their Rolodex or their network to you right away.
No.
If they do, they think that you're already there. They think that you're already ready for that option, for that introduction.
Yeah.
But if they don't, that means that, listen, pay attention.
We got some work to do, man.
Everything that they're telling you, they're telling you for a reason. Right? Don't just be like, okay, this guy doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Why did you approach them in the first place?
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
I mean, if that was something that seemed like an ego thing, for sure. If someone were to say that,
that's the thing. You got to check your
we've all
ego at the door.
We've all been there for sure.
But that's the thing, man. The minute you're approaching an advisor or a mentor, you are checking your ego at the door, because you are basically saying, I am open to criticism. Criticize me, my brand. Tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me what we can do to fix it. Because if everything was fine, you didn't need them, and they didn't need you. They don't need to. They're doing this most likely out of just for free. They don't need to waste their time.
No.
Why go through that whole interaction? If you're not willing to put in the work, don't do it.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely agree.
And also, so let's say you've done it. Pay attention. I think the biggest thing would be every single thing they do. Something that I do, and I'd love to hear what you from your perspective as well, is when I'm in a meeting with an advisor, I am going nuts with notes. Every single thing that I think is important, even things that are not important, I write a note and I'll put a question mark on it. But then the things that I feel like I need to change that are really important, I write it down right away. And then before we wrap up, I address those things so I can recap what I need to do. And then in my note sections at the bottom, I write down next steps based on this meeting. And then those are my action points of what I need to do next. That's my approach. Typically.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I follow a similar approach for sure. I mean, taking notes is a no-brainer. Recording the calls if it's online, no-brainer. I mean, for me, outside of those things, when I'm in those kind of meetings, I like to, unless there's a particular situation or topic that we're addressing outside of that, I'm a big, he or she might say something. I always like to pull from their mindset, why did you say that? Right? And then they explain, okay, well, the reason I said it is because X, Y, and Z. And then that could listen to X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Just soaking up as much information, perspective, mindset on every interaction that you have is so important. And that's, again, I mean, from an actual, what am I doing on the call? Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. I'm not sure how much more, you could do. But again, it's more so being able to value and just pull out everything you can with each interaction. You know what I mean?
100%, man. I think at the end of the day, everybody's time is valuable.
Yes.
And if you're tapping into somebody's insights, perspective, picking their brain for X, Y, and Z, if you don't show that you value their time, that you value their opinion, they won't value you. They won't give their best. They won't line everything up for you. They won't set you up to get to the point where they do open up their network. And also, by the way, that should not be your end goal. If your end goal is to network and to get to people that can get to certain people, then your intentions are kind of twisted from the get-go. And also your outcome it will not pan out that way.
No.
That's not the right approach. If your approach should be, let me get people in my vertical that can help me within my landscape, and then naturally if they are connected within this vertical because they are in my space, they'll be able to help me navigate to where we need. If they don't have people that they can tap into in their own network, then maybe they can introduce me, or maybe they can kind of steer me in the right direction. That's the whole point. The whole point is for you to perspective and just intrinsically become better as a brand or a company or organization from the feedback that you will receive.
Yeah, I mean, at its core, you want to be in a place where you just want to learn and get better. And this person or people will be able to help you do that tenfold.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main goal there, simply put.
100%.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things that we should talk about is what is the approach? How do you set it up? Where do you find mentors? Where do you find advisors? And I think we can, I guess, you want to kick this off?
Sure. I think from an approach standpoint, it really depends on, I guess, what you're doing and who it is.
Yep.
But I would say at a bare minimum, you always want to be in a place, especially in like your verbiage, that you want to try and provide as much value as you can up front.
Mm-hmm.
So when that person or when these people are, talking with you, they're like, okay, at least get them curious, at least get them, having a conversation with you at the very least. But with that being said, again, like providing value and then eventually getting to the point where you're like, hey, so do you think that it would be okay if I can reach out to you every now and then to ask you some questions or get your advice on some things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, I guess like from a perspective of like actually operating and working with them, that's different. Like for me, like I agree with a lot of that stuff. I just think that I like to be structured. I like to be organized, and I like to be systematic with every single thing that I do. Sometimes it might seem like I don't, because my lifestyle and how unhealthy and everything is, because I don't choose to prioritize certain healthy things, right? Because of the lack of sleep, lack of this, the XYZ. But when it comes to work, I am extremely meticulous with shit that I want to do, that I want to achieve. Like I've got small milestones, medium level, and high level, high priority milestones that I want to hit, right? I don't ever end my day without checking every single thing off my checklist. If even one thing is not checked off, I cannot go to sleep. That's just how it works for me. So I use that same approach for when it comes to dealing with mentors. Like for example, I think we should talk about how to find mentors after, but let's talk about...
that's what I was addressing.
Oh,
that's what I
mentors?
said.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Okay, no, that's not what I meant. But
okay, so let's revisit. That's fine. So what did you mean? Go ahead, and then I can...
what I meant was like, what should be the approach of setting up expectations and actually maintaining a relationship with your mentor?
Got it.
That's what I meant. Okay. So that's why I was
my
confused.
answer
So
now
then
makes more sense.
In that case, I agree with your answer.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, but I mean, we can dive into that after.
Okay.
But what I was saying was using that mindset of just being detailed and meticulous with a system. It's important for me that not just an advisor or a mentor, anybody that I deal with, whether it's an investor, whether it's a business partner, anybody that has an opportunity to network, open up doors and opportunities for my company, organizations, I could tell you that, let's say with a mentor, have the initial meeting, right? Let's say you've already gone through the introduction, finding, vetting process, and you locked on, and then you're kind of like talking to the advisor and like, hey, I love what you're doing in this space. I love that all the things that you've achieved in X, Y, and Z. We are in a similar vertical. My company's Axion XYZ. And we have a very promising piece of technology, and the outlook is really good for us over the next couple of months. And we're at a place where we need strategic advisors and business mentors like yourself to be able to tap into and just as an added resource and just to help us guide strategically to get from point A to point B. I would love to set up a meeting with you. Let's say you're writing this in an email. I would love to set up a meeting with you for some time early next week. So if this is something that you would like to explore, this would mean a lot for us, blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
And let's say you get a response back and you kind of get to the point of like, okay, let's meet. Now in your meeting, be yourself.
Number one. Have to be.
Be yourself. Let's say let's say in the world of COVID, it's a Zoom meeting or Google Meet. Be yourself and introduce what your story very quickly and what your brand does and who you are, and to the point of what you need out of this in a way, like without it being fully.
I need this.
Yeah, exactly. It should be more about the person and their achievements that you're talking to,
Yeah.
and how you see that being of value to you
Mhm.
in your brand that you're currently building.
Mhm.
So that would be the approach and the mindset that I think you should approach any sort of mentorship or advisory relationship, because you never know where this might go.
For sure.
And then once you've established that, you'll see that it'll most likely lead questions. Like it'll be more to the point of like the advisor needing to ask you questions that you need to answer that you haven't answered yet, or they need more clarity on, so they can get a bigger understanding, the full picture, right? Once they have a full picture, I would prioritize on what's important. What is the main focus here? Is the focus to raise money? Then what are the fundamentals and the things that you've already done that you should list out? You should let the advisor know.
Mm-hmm.
If the focus is like not to raise money to kind of focus on marketing and growth, then that's exactly what have you done so far, and what are you thinking of doing? And then the advisor is going to let you know of all the things that you should potentially explore. And then this is where the feedback starts coming in.
Correct.
And when you wrap that up, be appreciative.
Always
Be appreciative, and let them know that their feedback has been valuable, and that you will implement on these things on helping grow your company,
Mm-hmm.
helping grow your brand.
Yes.
And I hopefully get to a point where these tasks that they've given you, you've already started working on them, and then set up a follow-up. So this is where I would line it up as like, hey, let's say his name is James, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, James, I would love to, me and my team are going to work on these things, X, Y, and Z. Everything that you said, honestly, has been very insightful. We've appreciated the feedback, and I think a lot of this makes sense. I would love to kind of sit down with my creative team and work on these details and see how we can implement these changes.
Yeah.
And I would love to set up a meeting with you to kind of tell you where we're at, or show you where we're at, so we can
get some
discuss
feedback.
and get some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you start building the relationship. You can establish something like, hey, let's touch base every month, but it's also more of like, you're blocking out their time every month. I like it more so to be more action point based, more of like, hey, let me do this, let me do that. And I love that. Now, if you've got meetings that are important things happening every month, then have a rotating monthly meeting on your calendar.
Yeah.
But the most effective ways to deal with advisors and mentors are, hey, this is your feedback. This is what we're going to do. Let's touch base in 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks even. And then so we can kind of get that feedback. But you want to have an active point of contact, just plan of action, and just relationship that you have with the...
Oh, that's how you grow a relationship and don't let it become stale.
Yeah.
It's always, having something next to do. But I mean, I think I would agree with pretty much everything that you mentioned.
Yeah. But just from like an approach perspective, it's important, right? You kind of have to treat it like this in a certain way.
Well, yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, the mentor, the advisor, like you need them.
Yeah.
So you have to
100%.
be able to display it in a way and that they are aware of that. And
Yep.
I think being appreciative is very important, not wasting their time, being very detail oriented and task based, like you'd mentioned, especially in your meetings. So yeah, I would agree for sure with everything.
Yeah.
Not sure, if I have anything to add to that or that I would do differently. I operate in a similar fashion, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, in a lot of sense, we both operate in similar fashions. And I think that I would just say that you're if you haven't thought about it because you're like, hey, I know my business better than anybody,
Wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong is what it comes down to. You're wrong.
Change your mindset.
Yeah. I mean, and there will be a place where at some point you won't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't even know how to get the answer. And if
Mhm.
you haven't been there yet, then you will get there eventually, especially as you start to grow and scale and do whatever you'd like to do and start to accomplish some of your goals.
Yeah.
So
I think, man, I can't stress enough of like the amount of people that I meet that I know that operate on that mindset. It's this ego-filled, quick rich schemes that we see online that kind of morph the mindset of like, I can do this shit on my own. I don't need any help.
it's also like an adrenaline rush. Like you watch, you're watching some videos like, oh, X so-and-so created this. It's like, all right, my turn.
There's no shortcuts to life, man.
No,
There's just no shortcuts to life. There's no shortcuts to success. There's luck. There's a lot of luck, but man, I can't tell you that I've learned that the hard way time and time again. And I can tell you that there are no shortcuts,
Yeah.
You just got to put in the work. You got to be open to feedback. And
I think being open to feedback and being open to change is probably one of the most important things, like even for me personally, that I've learned over, a couple years.
Yeah.
It's just being constantly ready to change what you're doing and to learn in order to get better. If I'm speaking to someone that has the results that I'm looking for, I'm listening to pretty much every single word, asking them as many questions as I can think of, taking the feedback in, being grateful for the time. Thank you. I'm going to do these things, know, and that's how you improve.
You're going to learn so much. You're going to learn so much in the process. Like you don't even know, like you're going to learn things, even if it's somebody that's you're meeting with, that's an advisor, that's 30 years older than you. Like the lifetime of experience and knowledge that this person has over you is insane. And it's invaluable. So you just be open to it. If you've been closed off to it in the past, I think it's time to change. I think even if you're a very successful company or a brand, you need an advisor or a mentor that can help you, guide you. I mean, the things that I've shared with you that I've learned with some of the advisors that I've been working with recently has been crazy.
Yes.
And time. The last meeting that I had, like about a week, this past week, where I had a different perspective, and I was like, I'm not going to approach this. I don't want to disclose the details, the name of the CEO, the meeting, the VC stuff. But, and then when I had the meeting with the advisor, and he was like, yo, man, you got to strike while the iron's hot. What are you doing? Like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And then it made sense to me because I didn't think about it from his perspective. And then I told you what I thought. I was like, oh, shit. All right, so now next week, I'm going to prioritize based on what he said because you know what? He was right.
100%. 100%. So I think that, as more of maybe like a wrap up, try it for sure. And I think that there really can't be any harm in trying to accomplish something like this or trying to build that sort of relationship. Even if someone shuts you down, that's okay. Even ask why. And then just kind of keep trying to grow. That's the ultimate goal. Growing personally, in business, overall in life. And, typically with an advisor, for me, like normally all those three things are covered. Because even like from a business standpoint, you start to grow in life too, so.
Yeah,
that'd be my thoughts, I think.
100,000% I agree with that.
100,000 million%.
Yeah. What was it? What did I say in the beginning? No.
Super or something.
Super strong or something like that. I don't know, something weird that didn't make sense. But yeah, I super strong like that. I agree with that. 1,000%. But yeah, man, that's it for me. Kind of want to, I guess, you want to wrap us?
Sure.
Yeah.
As always, we appreciate all those listening. This is one of those episodes, that hopefully provided a lot of value. This is one of these, how-to episodes almost, or why you should consider something like this. And, we are on Apple Music. We are on Spotify. For those watching, we're on
Apple
YouTube.
Music, Apple Podcasts.
Why do I always do that?
I don't know why you say that.
No, because I have Apple Music. Apple Podcast.
Spotify.
Instagram.
Pandora.
TikTok.
Stitcher.
YouTube.
IG Reels.
YouTube Shorts.
Clips.
That's all I got. So, as always, no matter where you are, day or night, hope you are enjoying yourself, and we'll see you soon.
Sayonara.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand, it's whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit, you just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles, time to take it to the next level. Let's go.